All right. Oh, what do we got here? All right. This is really exciting. It's a little banged up from the trip all the way from the UK, but what is this? Let's open it up and find out. It's got all of its safety. It's got all of its power. I think it's about time we make it look proper, right? Let's just say we're staying true to the BTCC origins of this car. Hopefully no one gets any flat tires from these nails. I'll make sure to pick all of them up. We're making a mess. Oh man, Duncan, what? How do I get this thing out? Volvo Composites from the UK somehow inherited the mold to the 850 BTCC front splitter. And this is that. Once again, the Volvo community is awesome. I had a bunch of people tag me in Volvo Composites post on Instagram. So telling me that I need to get this bumper. So I reached out to Duncan at Volvo Composites. He whipped this up for me really quickly. Now, we're putting it on a wagon. I know it's not correct, but it's still very cool. And like I said, we're not building a replica, we're building a tribute car. And what's more tribute than a BTCC splitter? And I cannot wait to see what this looks like on the car. So this is just one of the final pieces to the puzzle to make the 850 look exactly the way we want it.
With the 850 in tow, our infamous Yippee-Ki-Yay brings us to our first stop at MAACO of Fishkill, New York. Now you might be thinking, really? MAACO? But trust me, this isn't your ordinary MAACO. Let's just say this isn't the only race car getting worked on here. In fact, all the bodywork on our very own Mercedes 190e Golden Era project was done by the very talented people at this body shop.
We just explained to them everything we wanted to do, have some reference photos here for them to use. It's gonna look way better than it needs to, especially considering we're gonna be wrapping it. But we're just gonna sit back and let them do their thing, and the next couple of days, this thing's gonna look awesome.
The first step was to remove the 850's original front bumper. With the hundreds of thousands of miles of stone chips and road debris this bumper experienced in its life, we finally put it to rest. From there, it was the laboring process of measuring and cutting little by little until the BTCC front splitter comfortably lined up with the 850 bumper.
It's incredible how it just, something as simple as that, just completely transformed the look of the car. So George was saying maybe bring up the sides a little bit. He's still, really what he's trying to do is trim the least amount of the bumper, of the original bumper as he can, just to keep the most material there. But you know, you just do a little bit of time.
With the trimming of the bumper complete, the next step was to prep the surfaces for fiberglass work and eventually paint. We weren't much help standing around watching, so it was time for us to leave and let George and his team tackle the rest.
We hope you've enjoyed Season 2 of the 850 project. If you aren't already, be sure to subscribe. We have a ton more builds coming, and we post new content all the time. And as always, head to fcbureau.com for all your Euro car parts needs.
Like movie magic, we were back again to see the finished product.
Holy, oh my gosh. No way. Wow, that is absolutely insane. Well, I can't wait to see it on the car. So if you look at the bumper here, you can see how smooth and seamless they molded this part to the original bumper. If you take a look on the inside, so you can see it's even riveted and they just smooth everything out with the fiberglass. You know, if you look at it before, even all this didn't quite match up exactly to the original bumper. So they even like modify these holes and cutouts to be perfectly even. Like,
After admiring George's work, it was finally time to throw the bumper on the car, drop it on the ground, and see how it looked.
George, thank you so much. Yeah, looks awesome. Bumper's on. We're gonna get back on the trailer, bring it back to work, and get this thing wrapped. Let's go.
With the 850 loaded up, we headed back to headquarters for the next step of putting lipstick on our pig. With the car back at our shop, we took care of a few imperfections the old 850 earned over the years. After some quick PDR work, it was finally time to lay down its new skin. When it came to designing the livery, we worked with 8380 Labs, taking our favorite aspects of all the Volvo touring car liveries of the past, combining them, and giving them a modern FCP Euro twist. With that, Rabid Wraps worked their magic in bringing this car to life. And by life, I mean back to the 90s.
I liked the green. Holy shit, that's pretty freaking cool. This isn't my car. You guys swapped it, right?
Yeah.
I think now it looks as good as it sounds. Let's put some wheels on it and get it on the ground.
With our imagination coming to fruition, at the end, we couldn't help but feel the car was a representation of what it would look like had FCP Euro raced a BTCC 850 in the 90s. But it wasn't for us to decide, so we headed to our Swede Speed Volvo Sunday motoring meet where we revealed the freshly wrapped car for the very first time.
We're pulling down the track at the FCP Euro Sunday motoring meet, unveiling the 850 project for the very first time. We've got some very European, very BTCC weather today, but that didn't stop quite a few people from showing up. So this is it. This is the big moment. Volvo Sunday Motoring Meet, the Volvo 850 project. We're here. We made it. And yeah, I mean, it's been years in the making. So this is a pretty special moment.
With the perfect Swedish weather and surrounded by hundreds of Volvo owners, the 850 felt right at home with the community that helped build it.
All right, we made it to a very rainy Lime Rock Park, but that didn't stop the Volvo community from showing up. It's super exciting showing everyone the car, but I'm really excited to put down our flyer tomorrow on the SPO Proving Grounds. So let's head over there and see what this thing can do. Very loose. Feels good. Whew! There's more time in it. The biggest thing is not having to upshift. Literally second gear in this car. Realistically, for a race car, the gearing in this car is not ideal. It's got a really tall final drive. But second gear, I'm in second gear the entire time around this lap. I do not change gears at all. And I can really feel like there's way more torque coming out of the corners than there were before. Like if I'm too heavy on the throttle, like it just starts spinning up the tires. Whereas before, like I could almost just go full throttle and there wasn't enough torque to actually spin the tires for me to lose traction. So a lot of this is being a little more gentle with the throttle because it does feel like there's way more power in all of the rev range, especially in the mid-range. But yeah, I think we can get a 37 out of this thing for sure. Like especially around such a short course like this, like a second is insane. So we're chasing tenths here, but car feels amazing. It sounds unbelievable, especially going into the skid pad. It just buries the tachometer, like literally buries it. Man, if this is a percentage, just a tiny percentage of what it may have felt like in 1994 in British touring car, it must have been insane. But this we're there. It's making all the right sounds. It feels way more powerful, like I said, to the point where like I have to be careful with the throttle. I used to be able to go flat through the left-hander after the skid pad. I used to just be flat through there. I am not flat through there. I learned that by going off into the dirt a couple times. I think the reason why is because I'm probably going faster because it's making more power. Man, you really can't, like, numbers on the dyno, you can't put that much weight on there because the car feels so different. Like we may have gained, 20 horsepower or so, but like that doesn't sound like a lot, but on the track it feels like a significant amount. The car feels totally different. Power band feels totally different. Being able to like stay planted, like that's huge. Now it's just my driving. It's all my driving. That's all it is. All right, I'm gonna do a couple more laps, see if I can get down to a 37.
The 850 and I went back out aiming for a faster time, but lap after lap after lap, we ended up with nearly the exact same time. Consistent, yes, but not a whole lot faster. And then it dawned on me. building a car is not all about horsepower numbers and lap times. It's about having fun. And boy, was this thing fun. As much as this season really revolved around a scientific and performance-oriented approach, the truth is, not everything you do to a car can be quantified by numbers. Driving the 850, it's really easy to forget you're in a station wagon. This car truly went from feeling like a dull butter knife to a razor-sharp scalpel. Whether it was the tangible changes like the racing wheel in my hands, or the fact that I was no longer sliding around in a cushy front seat. And the sounds, oh my god, the sounds! Individual throttle bodies screaming into the skid pad at over 7,000 RPM, with as much sound coming from the front of the car as the rear. Or maybe it was the suspension setup and geometry changes, with the ability to sense the car rotate, and with the blip of the throttle, feeling the Quaife limited slip diff pull you out of the slide. And the brakes, powerful enough to pull your eyes out of their sockets. The feeling of driving this car is more than any numbers can represent. As the day came to an end, I couldn't help but reflect back on where we began all those years ago. Back when the world stopped, we started this project. Not with the aim to build the fastest, or the most powerful, or the most realistic replica, but to build a tribute, a nod to those incredible BTCC estate cars we lusted after. Whether you were around to witness them in action, or born too late to see them, this was our aim to bring you just a bit of the sights, sounds, and smells of the legendary BTCC 850. But at the end of the day, it's not just about the car. It's about the friends we met, the things we learned, and the memories we made along the way. That's what this is all about. To everyone who had a hand in this project, whether it was a camera, a wrench, welder, scanner, or keyboard, and those of you watching, thank you for turning this dream into reality. So, you might be wondering, what's next for the 850 project? Who knows? Maybe you just might see it at a racetrack, Cars and Coffee, or a supermarket near you. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you soon.